Good morning everyone, how are you all today? This is Ashar Khan, your geography teacher from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group Kota, and students, today we are going to learn a new chapter of geography. So students, our next chapter is chapter number 11 of geography, that is water in the atmosphere. So open your book on page number 94 so that we may begin this amazing chapter. Now in the previous chapter we learned about the insolation, about solar radiation, heat balance and temperature. In this chapter we will be learning about the water which is present in the atmosphere. I know you are all familiar with the term atmosphere and what it is, so let us start reading. Now, you have already learned that the air contains water vapor. We learned from the beginning of our school that the air contains water vapor. Now, it varies from 0 to 4% by volume of the atmosphere, and it plays an important role in the weather phenomena. The water which is present in the atmosphere changes the weather of your location. How so? One more thing, underline this. Water is present in the atmosphere in three forms, namely that is gaseous, liquid and solid. You already know that there are three forms of water, right? That is solid, the ice part, liquid, water and gas, that is the water vapor, correct? Now, the moisture in the atmosphere is derived from water bodies through evaporation and from plants through transpiration. Now, there are two words given here. They are familiar to you, I guess, that is evaporation and transpiration. Now, you all know what evaporation is. Evaporation is the process by which the water gets heated up and converted into the gaseous states, that is the water vapor, right? So, like for example, your mother boiling water. What happens when water gets boiled? When it gets heated, the water particles gets excited and they turn into gaseous particle, that is the water vapor. Now, what is transpiration? Transpiration is almost as similar as evaporation, but instead of water bodies, it happens with the plants. Right? Plants' leaves, they evaporate water and that process is called transpiration. Moving on. Thus, there is a continuous exchange of water between the atmosphere, the oceans and the continents through the process of evaporation, transpiration, condensation and precipitation. Now, two more words are given here, that is condensation and precipitation. Now, condensation is basically the opposite of evaporation, right? When water gets heated and the water gets converted into water vapor, that is called evaporation. But when the water vapor gets cooled down and they turn into water state, that is called condensation. Okay, and the process by which the water falls down from the sky, from the clouds to the earth, that is called precipitation. In similar words, this entire process is called the water cycle. Correct? Water gets heated up, it goes into the atmosphere, it gets cooled down and drains back on the earth, and this process is continuously happening around us all the time. Now, water vapor present in the air is known as humidity. Whatever the amount of water vapor which is present in the atmosphere at any given time, that is called humidity. It is expressed quantitatively in different ways. Now, underline this as well, it is important. The actual amount of the water vapor present in the atmosphere is known as the absolute humidity. Okay, moving on, we'll be discussing absolute humidity in further details. For now, let us read. It is the weight of water vapor per unit volume of air and is expressed in terms of grams per cubic meter. The ability of the air to hold water vapor depends entirely on its temperature. Now, there are certain phenomena which affects how much water vapor the air is capable of having. Okay, it depends on the air and the amount of temperature. Okay, now the absolute humidity differs from place to place on the surface of the earth. That means the amount of humidity a place is having will depend on from place to place. It will differentiate from place to place. Earlier, we learned that the earth receives more insolation around the equator part, correct? That means the air is more heated around here. Okay, the land and air gets heated more here. So it is natural to say that the more amount of humidity, the more evaporation process will be happening around the place where there is more heat. Okay, so it differs from place to place, the amount of humidity we have. For example, India, particularly we talk about the northern part of India in which we live. What happens here is that there is not much heat. Okay, the climate here is moderate in general. So what happens, the amount of humidity is comparatively less as to what we experience in the southern part. because water body is near, as well as the temperature around that area is also very high. Now, the percentage of moisture present in the atmosphere as compared to its full capacity at a given temperature is known as the relative humidity. Underline this as well. These are your definition for absolute humidity that we have underlined earlier, and this is relative humidity. Now, there is a very subtle difference between absolute humidity and relative humidity. When we calculate the absolute humidity, we don't take temperature in account. Okay, absolute humidity is basically humidity of this room right now. But relative humidity will differ if I increase or decrease the temperature of this room. Supposedly, if I increase the temperature of this room, what will happen? All the water which is present in this room, it will evaporate. Okay, and the humidity will increase. But relative humidity, we will not take temperature into account. So I hope you understand the difference between absolute humidity and relative humidity. In relative humidity, we take temperature into account. Now, the air containing moisture to its full capacity at a given temperature is said to be saturated. Underline this as well. What is saturated air? The air which contains moisture to its full capacity. That means we cannot add more moisture to it. That is called saturated air. It means that the air at the given temperature is incapable of holding any additional amount of moisture at that stage. That means the air is full of water particles, and at this temperature, it cannot have any more water particles in it. If we want to add more water particles, more water vapor in the air, we will have to increase the temperature. Because by increasing the temperature, we increase the process of evaporation. That means the amount through which the water gets converted into water vapor. Now, the temperature at which saturation occurs in the given sample of air is known as dew point. Another very important definition, that the temperature at which the air will become saturated, that temperature is called the dew point. That means जो air है उसमें इतना water vapor आ चुका है that it cannot hold any more water vapor. That is called the dew point. So up until now we have discussed these topics that I am writing on the board. We have discussed evaporation and condensation. Okay. We also saw transpiration, that is the process of the water which is extracted from the plants, and precipitation. When the water vapor gets cooled down due to condensation and falls down, that is called precipitation. Next we learned was humidity. Okay, the amount of water vapor present in the atmosphere. Then we learned two parts of humidity. Those were absolute humidity and relative humidity. I hope it is clear the difference between those two. It's very simple. In absolute humidity, we will not take the temperature into account, but in relative humidity, we will take temperature into account. The next topics that we learned were saturated, and last was the dew point. Okay, so I hope you have underlined all these topics and their definitions. Now let us move on and further discuss evaporation and condensation in detail. So now let us discuss evaporation. Evaporation, as you all know, let us read. The amount of water vapor in the atmosphere is added or withdrawn due to evaporation and condensation respectively. The amount of water vapor that is present in our air, it is either added or reduced by the process of evaporation and condensation. Okay, now underline this. Evaporation is the process by which water is transformed from liquid to gaseous state. As you can see here, water is being transformed from liquid to gaseous state by the process of evaporation. Now, why evaporation takes place? Let us understand that. Heat is the main cause of evaporation. What causes evaporation? Heat. The sun, which heats up our atmosphere, which heats up our earth, also heats up the water bodies, as we have learned in the previous chapter. Correct? Now what happens when the water gets heated? Its molecules, they change their form from liquid state to gaseous state. Underline this as well. The temperature at which the water starts evaporating is referred to as the latent heat of vaporization. The particular temperature when the water molecules will go into the gaseous state, that particular temperature is called the latent heat of vaporization. Now let us see the factors which affect the evaporation process. Now, rate of evaporation is dependent on temperature. First of all, how? Now, increase in temperature increases water absorption and retention capacity of the given parcel of air. When we increase the temperature of any given place, what will happen? The evaporation will also increase. The high temperature increases the rate of evaporation, and similarly, when it is cold, the temperature is down, the evaporation process will not take place. Instead, condensation will take place. We will learn about it in a minute. Now, also the nature of surface. Evaporation is high near a large water surface. When there is a large water surface which gets heated up by the sun, now more evaporation will take place. Another factor which takes place is the wind factor. If the wind is blowing very fast, evaporation process will also speed up. You can see this simple experiment at your home. Just turn the fan on in your room and take a large saucer filled with water and place it there. You will see that in a day, that saucer water, the amount of water the saucer had, it will be reduced. Okay? And for evaporation, you can just keep it in the sunlight and the water will evaporate very fast. Okay? So these are the rate of evaporation factors on which the rate of evaporation depends on. Another factor is the amount of vapor present in air. Let's see, if we have high temperature, there is a large water body as well. But what happens if the air present has already reached its saturation point? Saturation point at the point at which the air cannot hold any more water. So that means evaporation will not take place. What we need for evaporation, fast evaporation, is dry air, because dry air has the capacity to hold more moisture. Okay, just imagine a poly bag in which you have kept all the fruits. What will happen? At certain point, you will reach a point where you cannot add any more fruit in that bag, right? Because that it is full. Similarly, when the air becomes saturated, it is so filled with water vapor and moisture that it cannot hold any more moisture. So dry air, okay, it will require dry air for the rate of evaporation to be faster. So these were some of the evaporation factors. Now let us discuss condensation. So those were some evaporation factors. Now let us discuss the second process, which is condensation. So come to the third paragraph. Let us read first. Underline this. It is the definition of condensation. The transformation of water vapor into water is called condensation. Okay, when the water vapor gets cooled down due to the atmosphere and its cool properties, what happens? The water vapor, they change their state and they get turned into water back. Condensation is caused by the loss of heat. Similar process as we see, just a bit reverse, that when evaporation was taking place, we were requiring heat, heat was added to the process, but in condensation, heat is removed, okay, and condensation takes place. Now, when moist air is cool, it may reach a level when its capacity to hold water vapor ceases. When we cool moist air, what will happen? It will not hold any more water, and the amount of water vapor which are already present in that particular air group, what will happen? The water vapor will get cooled down and they will become so heavy that the air will no longer be able to sustain them. And what will happen? Because of the effect of gravity, they will fall down from the sky. Right? Earlier in the chapter, we have learned that the hot air rises up and cold air comes down. So when the hot air carrying water moisture will go up in the sky and gets cooled down because of the because of the decreasing temperature in the height, right? So when they cool down, condensation will take place. So then the excess water vapor condenses into liquid form. If it directly condenses into solid form, it is known as sublimation. Now there is another important topic here, sublimation. Sublimation is very simple. Earlier we have learned that for water cycle to take place, what happens? The water vapor gets converted into water, then it falls down. But sometimes what happens is a temperature of our earth becomes so cool that the water vapor directly gets converted into solid particle, that is ice. We call them hailstones, snowfall, correct? So that is called sublimation, when water vapor directly gets converted into solid form, that is the icy form. In free air, condensation results from cooling around very small particles termed as hygroscopic condensation nuclei. Underline this, hygroscopic condensation nuclei. What hygroscopic condensation nuclei? It is given there. Particles of dust, smoke and salt from the ocean are particularly good nuclei because they absorb water. Now, apart from water vapor, in our atmosphere there are a lot of other things like dust particles, smoke particles and salt particles. What happens is water vapor, when they get cooled down, they stick to those dust particles, okay? Condensation also takes place when the moist air comes in contact with some colder object, and it may also take place when the temperature is close to the dew point. Condensation also takes place when there is so much moisture in the water. Now, as you can see, condensation nuclei are attracting water vapor. This is dust particle here, and what happens? The dust particle are attracting the water molecules to them. They are called hygroscopic condensation nuclei, as we have already discussed. Moving on. Condensation therefore depends upon the amount of cooling and the relative humidity of the air. So now let's see factors of condensation. So you see, condensation occurs, temperature drops sufficiently for moisture to be cooled to its dew point. When temperature gets cooled down, the moisture gets back to the liquid state. More importantly, it also occurs when there is enough water vapors within the air mass to reach saturation point. The air has reached its saturation point and cannot hold any more water. Condensation depends on amount of cooling, which is the temperature, relative humidity of the air, that means how much humid the air is. Okay, it is influenced by temperature, volume of air, pressure and humidity. These are the factors which affects the condensation process. So up until now we have discussed condensation's influencers, right? What factors affect the condensation process? Now let us discuss when condensation takes place. First point, when the temperature of the air is reduced to dew point with its volume remaining constant. This is the very important factor which affects condensation process. That is that the temperature of air must be reduced. Okay, the temperature of any surrounding must be reduced for condensation process to take place, because then only the water vapor particles will get turned back into liquid form. Second, volume of the air is increased. That means the amount of humidity, amount of moisture air is holding, it must be good, it must be increased. Third point, volume and temperature is reduced. Okay, either both volume and temperature should be reduced. Obviously, temperature, we have already discussed that temperature must be reduced for water vapor to turn into liquid form. Now, moisture is added to the air. More moisture is added to the air. What happens when we add more moisture? The air will reach the saturation point. Okay, and when it reaches saturation point, what will happen? It will not be able to hold any more moisture, and the moisture that is already in it, it will condense and fall back on the earth. So these were the factors which affects the condensation process. Now let us see. After condensation, the water vapor or the moisture in the atmosphere takes one of the following forms. Now the forms of condensation is also different, which is affected by temperature and location. So these forms are dew, frost, fog and clouds. Condensation takes place when the dew point is lower than the freezing point as well as higher than the freezing point. Underline this last line of the second paragraph on page number 95. That condensation takes place when the dew point is lower than the freezing point as well as higher than the freezing point. Now let us discuss different forms of condensation. That is our next topic.